Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these really simple biscuits that taste really good and are really flaky. They're really delicious and I hope you will enjoy this video. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off by mixing our dry ingredients together. You're going to need 3 cups of flour, 4½ teaspoons of baking powder, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. Grab a whisk and you're going to mix it all together. Just the dry ingredients. So we're just going to mix the dry ingredients together. Once they're well combined, you're going to want to get your butter. Make sure it's really, really cold so that you get flaky biscuits. You're going to want your butter to be cut up. The easiest way to do this is to grab a grater and you're going to use the biggest one it has. So you're going to grab your stick of butter and just grate it into small pieces. Okay, once your butter is all cut up, you're going to want to make sure that you get all of it off the grinder. And this is 6 tablespoons of butter. Once all your butter is cut up, you're going to want to put it into your flour and knead it into your flour, creating small chunks of butter in your flour, so it's like little crumbs in your flour. You can just add all of your butter right in and start making little crumbs in your flour. So you're just going to break up the butter so that it's in really small crumbs and it gets all covered in the flour. I'm just using my hands to break up the butter. So here's a chunk of butter and I'm just going to break it up into small little pieces and let it coat in the flour. You're going to want to make sure that all your butter is turned into little crumbs and is in the flour, and you can just mix it together so it all gets incorporated. Once all of your butter is just clumps in your flour, it's time to make it into actual dough by adding your milk. You're going to want to use about a cup of milk, a little bit more if you need, just so that it becomes a dough texture. So I'm just going to add in the milk a little at a time. Just pour it in, and you're just going to use your hands to stir it together. And make sure you're stirring as you pour in the milk, very slowly. And keep stirring, stirring, stirring. As you add in your milk, you're going to notice that the flour is going to start to clump together and form a dough. Make sure you really stir around so that there's no really wet parts. You want to make sure it's all stirred in before you add more milk. So just make sure it's all stirred in because there's a couple wet clumps. And you want to make sure that it's all the same consistency as you add your milk. And if your dough is still not completely doughy and still really floury, you're going to want to add a little bit more than a cup. So I used about a cup and 1/10 of a cup, which is really hard to measure. You don't want to overmix your dough, so once it becomes like this, you just want to stop. Now that our dough is ready, we're just going to set it aside for a second and make sure we flour our surface before we start rolling out the dough. To begin, you're going to want to lightly flour your surface so that the dough doesn't stick to the table. Make sure that you spread the flour all around. Now you're going to grab your dough and you're going to just plop it out and you're going to start to flatten it out with your hands. And you can put a little bit of flour on the top if it's starting to stick to your hands. You're going to want to just pat it out until it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. I would say that my dough is now 3/4 of an inch thick, just about. So after your dough is about 3/4 of an inch thick, you're going to grab a baking sheet to put your dough on. So you're just going to make sure that your dough is all spread out. Flip it over if you want to. You're going to grab a cup that's about 2 inches from the top to the bottom. And you're going to just cut out circles of your dough to be the biscuits. After you cut it out, you can just plop it right onto the baking sheet. Okay, I have my scraps, so I'm just going to roll them together again to make more biscuits with. I've rolled out all my biscuits now. This recipe makes about 10 to 12 biscuits depending on the cup size you're using. And now we're going to go put it in the fridge to cool for 15 to 25 minutes. This will allow the butter in the biscuits to cool down and it will be flaky again because we've worked it a lot. Now with our warm hands, we want to cool it back down so that it will work its magic. So I'm going to put it in the fridge and I'll see you back in 20 minutes. Also, at this time, it's best to preheat your oven to 450 so that you can cook these biscuits in the oven. Okay, it has now been 20 minutes-ish, so now it's time to put the biscuits in the oven. Open it right up. Pull that right in. You're going to want to cook these for 10 to 14 minutes until they're golden brown at the top at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So the biscuits are done and I'm just going to pull them right out of the oven. They look great. My brother's about to go to violin, so he wants a snack, so I was like, perfect timing. I'm going to give you a biscuit. So I have my spatula here, and I'm just going to take one off, and they look beautiful. I'm just going to put it on a paper towel for him to go, but he says he wants some apricot jam on his. I have the apricot jam here, and I'm just going to apply a little bit to the top of the biscuit. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Comment anything you want me to make. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You should definitely try making these biscuits because they're really fun to make and they're delicious. I'm going to have one right now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye!